What happens when a birthday celebration, meant to be filled with joy, balloons, and laughter, collides with something far more personal, something deeper, rawer, and impossible to ignore? In the world of the Kardashians, birthdays are not just milestones. They're spectacles, staged in grandeur, recorded in detail, and broadcast for the world to see. But what if the person at the center of it all refuses to play the part? This is the story of Kim and Khloé planning Kourtney's birthday, a day that should have been seamless, but instead unraveled into a public confrontation with Kourtney's midlife crisis. I was there, seated in the shadows of an elaborate party planning session, as Kim and Khloé brainstormed what seemed like a simple idea: make Kourtney's birthday unforgettable. But this wasn't just any birthday, it was a milestone. One that reminded Kourtney not of achievements, but of time slipping away. The sisters knew this celebration had to sparkle, but they underestimated the storm brewing beneath Kourtney's calm exterior. The air that day was thick with excitement as Kim laid out her vision. She wanted elegance, luxury, and exclusivity. "We need something timeless," Kim said, her voice sharp with determination. She wasn't just planning a party, she was curating an image, a brand moment as only Kim Kardashian could. Beside her, Khloé offered bursts of humor, her tone more grounded, more playful. "Let's not overcomplicate it," she said, half smiling. But still, she joined in the planning, making sure every detail was aligned with their family's larger-than-life reputation. It was clear, Kim and Khloé weren't just planning a birthday, they were choreographing a spectacle. But the problem was, Kourtney wasn't in sync with the rhythm. Kourtney Kardashian, the eldest sister, has always been different from Kim and Khloé. Where they craved spotlight and spectacle, Kourtney longed for simplicity, for authenticity. And yet, here she was, about to be thrust into an event she didn't ask for. A celebration that was meant for her, but wasn't about her. That contradiction was the seed of what unfolded next. As the plans grew bigger, champagne towers, live performances, and designer-draped backdrops, so did Kourtney's unease. I could see it in her eyes during quiet moments as the camera crews panned away. She wasn't smiling the way one expects when her sisters spoke about firework finales and themed decor. Instead, her face hardened, her voice quieted, and her shoulders slumped beneath the weight of expectation. The phrase midlife crisis has been thrown around casually in Hollywood circles, but in Kourtney's case, it was more than cliché. It was real, visceral, and undeniable. She was questioning everything: her choices, her relationships, her place in the family, and even the point of the fame that had once defined her. And now, with her sisters orchestrating a birthday that screamed extravagance, Kourtney felt her private struggles being drowned out by noise. I remember the moment the tension surfaced. The family gathered in the living room to review the final plans. Kim, holding her phone like a general commanding her troops, displayed the floor plan of the event. Khloé laughed, tossing out ideas for custom cocktails named after Kourtney's quirks. The mood was light, at least for Kim and Khloé. But then Kourtney spoke, her voice breaking the rhythm like an unexpected storm. "Do you guys even care what I want?" she asked. The room froze. Her words weren't loud, but they carried weight. Kim lowered her phone. Khloé's laughter faded. Silence thickened the space. Kourtney continued, her tone sharper now. "You're planning this whole thing as if I'm just some character in your show. This isn't about me. It's about what you think my birthday should look like." Kim, never one to back down, responded with her usual authority. "We're just trying to make it special, Kourt. Don't you want your birthday to be remembered?" Kourtney's reply was immediate, raw. "I don't want it to be remembered for something fake." It was then I realized this wasn't just about a birthday. This was about identity, about control, about a woman staring down the mirror of her own life and asking if she still recognized the reflection. Kourtney's midlife crisis had slipped into the open, right there, in front of the cameras, her family, and the world. Kim, visibly frustrated, leaned back in her chair. "You always do this, Kourtney. You act like we're the bad guys for trying to celebrate you. You should be grateful." Khloé, caught between the two, tried to mediate. "Let's just take a breath, okay? Maybe we went too big. Maybe we should just ask Kourtney what she actually wants." But the damage was already done. Kourtney's eyes filled with tears, not dramatic, not for show, but quiet, stinging tears of someone who felt misunderstood. She wasn't angry at the balloons or the fireworks. She was angry at the assumption that those things defined her happiness. In the days that followed, I watched as the tension lingered. Kim and Khloé continued planning, but now with a cautious edge. Kourtney withdrew, spending more time alone, questioning whether the life she had built still aligned with the woman she had become. Her midlife crisis wasn't about age alone, it was about purpose. And a birthday party, no matter how grand, couldn't answer those questions. The night of the celebration arrived. The venue was breathtaking, golden lights cascading across velvet drapes, music pulsing softly, guests mingling in designer gowns. Kim's vision had come to life in full. Khloé, ever the hostess, worked the crowd with charm and humor, but all eyes, as always, turned to Kourtney. She entered gracefully, her dress simple yet elegant, her expression unreadable. Cameras flashed, guests cheered, but I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't here for the spectacle. She was here because she had to be. As the night unfolded, Kourtney played her part, smiling politely, accepting gifts, blowing out candles. But behind the staged perfection was a woman caught between the roles others expected her to play and the reality of her own inner struggle. Her midlife crisis wasn't loud. It wasn't messy. It was quiet, steady, and painfully real. Kim and Khloé's efforts were not without love. They had poured themselves into planning because, in their own way, they believed it would make Kourtney feel celebrated. But what they didn't see, what perhaps they couldn't see, was that no amount of glitter or glamour could resolve the storm Kourtney was facing within herself. By the end of the evening, as the crowd thinned and the music softened, Kourtney sat alone for a moment, gazing at the flickering lights. I was close enough to hear her whisper, almost to herself, "This isn't me, not anymore." It was a haunting admission, one that lingered long after the party ended. Kim and Khloé had planned Kourtney's birthday, but what they couldn't control, what they couldn't choreograph, was the undeniable truth of her midlife crisis. It had taken over, not in a dramatic explosion, but in a quiet confrontation that would reshape not only her relationship with her sisters, but also with herself. And as I left that night, the image stayed with me. A glittering party meant to mark another year of life, overshadowed by a woman reckoning with the weight of her own existence. It was no longer just about a birthday. It was about Kourtney Kardashian standing at the crossroads of her life while the world watched, unsure if she would step into the spotlight again or finally walk away.